Hello, welcome to Vintage Cookbooks and Crafts. My name is Barbara, and today I am going to make corn chowder and cheese sticks out of this 1967 cookbook by Charlotte Adams. It says Easy, Elegant Recipes and Menus for Exciting Entertaining by Charlotte Adams. This is my dicer attachment. It's my food processor with the dicer blades for my KitchenAid mixer. And so I will be cutting my onions and potatoes, dicing them with this dicer attachment. This was 2 large onions, and now I need 4 medium potatoes to dice. Okay, I'll bring the camera over here so you can see the dice size, and then I'll get the chowder started. The recipe calls for 8 slices of bacon, and I fry that until crisp, drain it on the paper, absorbent paper, and then with the bacon fat cook the onions. It says 2 large chopped onions, and that's what this is. Some people that don't care for onions much may not think that that's a good thing, but we love onion. So the recipe says, saute onion in bacon fat until golden. Add potatoes and water. Cook until potatoes are tender, 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll continue to saute this onion, and then I will be back. Okay, the onions are getting golden now. Some of them are starting to get a little brown, so we will add the 2 cups of water. And the cubed, diced potatoes. Put on the lid. Okay, the potatoes are tender, And seeing this was a small dice, these are small diced, it only took about 15 minutes, no longer. Okay, it says to add 3 cups of corn. And it says fresh, canned, or frozen corn. And 3 cups is a 12-ounce package of frozen corn. And then it calls for 2 cups of milk. This is whole milk, and 1 cup of light cream. We don't have light cream here. That's your coffee creamer, but real dairy. So I'm putting in 1.5 cups of whole milk and 1.5 cups, instead of 1 cup of the cream, I'm putting in 1.5 cups of half and half. And then it calls for salt, pepper, and paprika to taste. I'm starting out with 1.5 teaspoons of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm going to also use a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. When you serve the chowder, you crumble up the bacon. You just take some of the bacon and crumble it on top of the chowder in the bowl. You should taste it and see if it needs any more salt. I'm just going to taste the broth part. I'm going to add about another 1/2 teaspoon of the salt. Not quite a 1/2 teaspoon, just shy of 1/2 teaspoon. So then that will be a total of just under 2 teaspoons of salt. And potato will absorb salt. My mother taught me that when you accidentally put in too much salt into something, you can put a potato in there and it'll absorb some of the salt, and then you can take the potato out and you'll be fine. So these potatoes will absorb a little of the salt, so that's probably why it needed a little bit more. This has to simmer for about 10 minutes, it said. So while that's simmering, I'm going to start my second recipe. Now I'm making the cheese sticks, and it calls for 1 recipe of rich pastry, 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, salt, and cayenne. But first you have to make the rich pastry, which is 2 cups of flour, a teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of butter, and 1/2 cup of lard. Cut the butter and lard into the flour until small even particles are formed. Add salt and mix. Add only enough ice water to make the particles stick together, form into a ball. Wrap in wax paper or plastic wrap and chill in refrigerator for at least an hour. Okay. Here's the 1/2 cup of butter. And I measured out 1/2 cup of lard. Now my butter and lard had been sitting out at room temperature while I was making the chowder, so they're a little bit warmer than what I'd like. It's easier to cut it when the butter is colder. Okay, and it said to add it said approximately a 1/4 cup of ice water. And it will gather into a ball. And you don't over handle it when you're rolling out like pie crust or something like that, because that's what makes your crust tough. You just give it very gentle. You treat it like a little baby, very gently. Okay, so I'm going to put this into the refrigerator for an hour, and then I will come back and we will make the cheese sticks. This was the Rich Pastry. The dough is chilled and I have rolled it out to 1/4 inch. This little item here is Mrs. Anderson's rolling pin rings. And there are different sizes for if you need different thicknesses of your dough. And so I rolled it one direction, and then these just measure it. If it doesn't move anymore, you know you have a 1/4 inch. To sprinkle some of the Parmesan cheese on half of it. On half of the dough. And this is 1 cup of Parmesan cheese that's in here. And then it says to sprinkle with a little bit of salt. I'm not going to put too much because I think Parmesan cheese is salty on its own. And then a little bit of cayenne. And then you fold the dough over, you fold it in half. And then you roll it out again. Each time you roll it out, you sprinkle 1/2 of it with the Parmesan cheese, and then sprinkle it with, I'll continue to roll this out, and then I need to cut them into strips that are 1/2 inch wide and 5 inches long, and then twist them and put them on the baking sheet. So when I get that finished, I will come back and show you. And here is the finished corn chowder and cheese sticks. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the sticks to twist like they wanted because they were breaking apart on me. Operator error. So I just left them as straight sticks. And here is the finished corn chowder with the crumbled bacon on the top and the cheese sticks on the side.